guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today in the Ask SSM video series, got an email from a subscriber, a brand new subscriber here. He's 35 years old, married for 9 years, he's the father of 2, and he's writing in because he really is at a crossroads in his life and his marriage after the last 7 years has been an absolute mess. Long story short, our guy here, 2 years into the marriage, when his wife was pregnant with a kid on the way, he decided to embark on a business venture. And unfortunately, it failed miserably after 8 months. Not only did he lose all their money, he went up in incredible debt. They had to move to a not-so-nice part of town, sell her car. And as you could probably understand, and I understand, the wife wasn't too happy about this, given that a kid was on the way and everything. And our guy here did everything he could to turn it around. Accepted that he screwed up, he failed, was a bad husband, bad leader of the family. And he did turn it around, which is awesome. The problem is, she never let go of the resentment, and she has been a train wreck, nightmare to live with ever since. Treating him like crap, belittling him in front of the kids, belittling him in front of his family, and obviously he stuck around for the kids, and obviously I think something has to do with culture as well. And he's reached the point that enough is enough. And so he's writing in looking for my advice as well as you guys here. And again, he's brand new to the channel. And so I'm going to go through this whole thing and really hit home some points here. And there's 3 main lessons to take away from this. In no particular order. Number 1, if you're a young guy and you have great ambitions and you want to start your own business one day, you've got a skill, do it before you get married and have kids, because it is infinitely harder when you have major responsibilities. Can't stress that enough. It's not impossible, certainly not, but it's easier before you have a wife and kids. Number 2, guys, women, as you are well aware, do not respect weakness, or when a man loses his frame, his masculine core, the ability to lead. So when she has a husband and he messes up big time, puts the family in jeopardy, like in this situation here, she loses respect for him. He can become incredibly resentful and nasty. And if he doesn't do things to turn it around, that ain't going to stop. And last but not least, guys, when your girl, wife or girlfriend, is treating you like crap, and you've done everything, say you screwed up, and you've done everything to fix it, and she's still doing that, then you got to check her, okay? Because nasty behavior is unacceptable. She can be upset with you, but belittling you and dragging out forever, unacceptable. And you got to decide whether it's worth sticking around or leaving. That being said, it starts off, says here, and this is, our guy here was recommended from his cousin, who's also a follower of the channel. The cousin is going to say a little bit here, and then we're going to get into the main story. The cousin says, "Hi, SSM. I hope you're doing great. You can call me Mac, and I've been an avid viewer of your channel since 2022. I really enjoy your videos. Apart from enjoying them, I've learned many valuable lessons and have implemented them in my own life. That is how I was able to change my marriage and turn my masculine and incredibly disrespectful wife into a feminine and respectful woman." Well, good for you, man. I'm glad it helped out. I don't know how bad it got, but that's great to hear. If you're ever interested in hearing the story, let me know and I'll write it down and send it on over to you. Get writing, brother. We want to hear the story. Today, however, I'm writing to you because I'm in urgent need of some advice. As my cousin, we will call him Adam, fake name of course, could desperately use your help. We're both Indian, but live in the Gulf region for our jobs, and both have our families here with us. I'm an engineer and work in construction. Adam works in finance and is very good at his job. Last weekend, we were hanging out, and I told him about your channel and how your videos helped me turn my life and my marriage around. He immediately became depressed and started telling me about his marriage and how he could use your advice. I encouraged him to write to you and told him about your Ask SSM series and how you'd be glad to help a brother out. Of course, that's why I'm here, guys. Out of fear of being outed, he uses his full name in his email. He asked me to write on his behalf. The following is his letter, polished and formatted for your convenience, so if it sounds like something written by AI, please excuse our English skills. No worries. Some people use AI to polish things up. I wholeheartedly believe this is real, because what you're about to hear, guys, can certainly happen. So he says here, "Hi, SSM. I'm writing you because I've reached my limits and I don't know where to go from here. I feel like I'm serving a life sentence in a prison where my wife is the warden, and no matter how good my behavior is, my record will never be wiped clean." What you said right there. No matter how good my behavior is, my record will never be wiped clean. Does that tell me that this is beyond you correcting your mistakes that you're going to tell us about, but maybe also kissing her butt for the last 7 years. That ain't ever going to work. This happy wife, happy life, put the woman on the pedestal and kiss her butt thing, that never works. Women don't just respect strength and leadership, they respect a guy with integrity. And a man with integrity doesn't kiss any woman's ass. And if she's bitchy, puts her in her place. But we'll get to that. I've been married to my wife for 9 years, and we have 2 children. I will be the first to admit, and I have admitted 1,000 times, that our second year of marriage was a living hell, and it was entirely my fault. I was 26 years old at the time, arrogant, and I thought I was the smartest guy in the room. Well, as the saying goes, pride cometh before the fall. Well, I took out a massive, highly leveraged loan to start a logistics business. I didn't consult my wife properly. I just told her I was going to make us rich. The business completely collapsed within 8 months. I lost our savings, I lost the capital, and we were drowning in crippling debt. And I had to sell her car. We were evicted from our nice apartment and had to move into a tiny, cramped 2-bedroom unit in a bad neighborhood right when our first son was born. It was the most humiliating, soul-crushing period of my life. Holy shit, man. That's rough. I respect that you 110% admit and own up that it was your screw-up. That says a lot, because a lot of people wouldn't do that, you know? And I respect that you had the balls to try to start your own venture. But you openly admitted that you were arrogant, thought you were the smartest guy in the room, therefore you probably didn't consult people that knew better, had experience, and thought you knew everything. And with bad luck and timing and all that, look what happened. And there you go. Again, pride cometh before the fall. But so, if I can review here, because I really want to emphasize this. So you used lost all your savings, crippling debt that now you had to pay back. I mean, I don't know if this happened in the United States or happened in India. I don't know. You could declare bankruptcy. You know, I mean, that was an option depending on the situation. Had to sell your wife's car, move from your nice apartment to a crappy part of town that was somewhat dangerous, and you had a kid on the way or a kid that was just born. So, understandably, to be reasonable here, I can see why your wife was a tad bit upset with you. You know, because I'm guessing she trusted you as a man, as to be the leader of the family, and you let her down big time. And the protective maternal instinct comes in with her child when she has to leave a nice apartment, seemingly in a safe part of town, to an area in a bad neighborhood and all that. The protective maternal instinct comes out. And now, probably because she felt like you couldn't lead her and your child and your family as a man, as the leader, she no longer trusts you. Now she has to act like the man and becomes bitchy and resentful and pissed off. And sound about right? And again, I can't blame her initially for feeling this way. But then what you're about to do next should have stopped that hellfire real quick. Now, guys, it's always smart, and not to mention a good idea, to try to see from other people's perspectives. You know, people in your relationships with, friends with, coworkers, enemies. See where they're trying to come from to understand, you know. That's why I'm making that point here. And I can get where she's coming from initially. But I don't agree with how she handled things shortly after. Now listen to this. But SSM, I did not run from it. I learned my lesson. I repented from my arrogance. I sat my wife down, looked her straight in the eye, and I took 100% accountability. Good for you, man. And then I went to work. For 3 straight years, I lived like a machine. I worked my corporate job from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 p.m., and then from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., I drove for delivery apps, did freelance consulting, and took any gig I could find. I worked 16-hour days, 7 days a week. For 3 years, holy crap. So, man, you were doing what you had to do to get back on track. Obviously, you didn't declare bankruptcy. I don't know the whole situation, but obviously you were using all that extra money you were making to pay off your debts and rebuild savings, get yourself back on track. That's what a man does. You fucked up, things didn't work out, you owned up to it, and I respect that, and you're doing what you got to do. And that's great. That's what a leader does. The problem is that your wife never stopped being pissed off at you. I can understand for a little while, but after you demonstrating all this and you were showing through your actions you're willing to take care of things, she should have dropped her shit. But listen to this, guys. Well, I missed my son's first steps. I walked around in a state of permanent exhaustion, but I paid off every single cent of that debt. I rebuilt our savings from zero. Bravo. That's what a man does. Good for you, man. Proud of you. Guys, we all screw up, and hopefully you learned from them, and you did. I worked my way up the corporate ladder, got promoted twice, and for the last 4 years, I provided a very comfortable, highly stable, completely debt-free life. I bought us a beautiful 4-bedroom house in a great neighborhood. I bought her a brand new car. I fixed my mistake, and I rebuilt our home. Awesome. A good wife would have forgiven you and seen that you did what you had to do to turn shit around and would love you even more for that. I think my female subscribers here would agree with me on this, my 4%ers. Yeah, y'all will be pissed in the beginning, but then you'd see the husband doing what he has to do to take care of the family. Now listen to this little darling here. But my wife will never, ever let me forget that I once fell. Well, it was a big fucking fall, but regardless, you've been turning shit around. My past has become her weapon, and she wields it with a terrifying precision to crush my leadership. The debt is gone, but the ghost remains. I'll give you a few examples of what my life is like right now. First, the finances. Last week, I sat down with her to discuss our budget. She's been excessively online shopping lately, buying luxury items that we don't necessarily need. Well, sounds like a typical gal to me. I guarantee this is punishment to you. Guaranteed. That way you have to keep on working and working and working and working. I want us to start aggressively funding an emergency account. I wasn't angry. I wasn't raising my voice. I was just being a husband trying to manage the household economy. She looked at the spreadsheet, scoffed, rolled her eyes, and said, "You're not going to lecture me about money. Seriously? Need I remind you who almost made us homeless in 2019? And just like that, I was neutralized. I completely shut down because how do you argue with a fact? Smack. You don't tolerate that crap. Yeah, you did that back then, but you turned the shit around. I would have walked right the fuck out. Or I would have said, here's the deal. When you're prepared to have a conversation like a freaking adult and not like a bitter, spiteful child, then we can talk. I'm out of here. Checking that crap. Dude, you can feel bad about that and feel kind of shamed for a little while, but all these years later, no. She's a bitch. And I'm going to say it right now. And I think everybody, my 4%ers, agree with me here. Dude, you did a fantastic job of turning things around. I'm proud of you. We're proud of you. That is unacceptable. We're not done here yet. She just decided one day at that point, and by the way, I want to know what your marriage was like prior to all this happening. Did you have a very good, loving relationship? Is your marriage arranged? Or did you meet together, court, quote unquote, fall in love? You know my opinion about that. Did you have a good thing going? And then she became this psycho hose beast after the whole event. Something tells me it wasn't as good as you may have thought. Second, our parenting. I was trying to discipline our 7-year-old son for blatantly disrespecting his mom. I told him to go to his room, and then he was grounded for a week. My wife immediately stepped in front of him, physically blocking me, and said, "Don't you dare yell at him. You weren't even around for his first 3 steps or years of his life. You don't get to march in here and play dad now." He's trying to keep the kid from disrespecting his mom, and now she's disrespecting him in front of his son. Now the kid knows that dad's word doesn't mean shit. My God, man, I would never tolerate that shit. SSM, I wasn't around because I was working myself into an early grade to pay for the roof over his head. But she twisted my sacrifice into abandonment to win an argument. I'm not hearing anything redeemable about her or your marriage, man. And the final straw happened 2 weeks ago at dinner. This is the worst one. Arguably the worst one. With her extended family. Her younger brother was talking about a risky crypto investment that he wanted to make. I gently advised him to be cautious and diversify his risk. Remember, our guy's a finance guy. He's done very well for himself in spite of the venture that happened 7 years ago. Without missing a beat, in front of her parents and siblings, my wife laughed out loud and said, "Oh, definitely listen to him. He's the absolute expert on going bankrupt." The table went dead silent. The humiliation washed over me like ice water. SSM, I repented. I bled for this family. I spent years in the trenches to prove my capability and my devotion. But every single time I tried to steer the ship, every single time I tried to lead, she drops this massive burden in my past mistake on my head. I'm exhausted from constantly apologizing for a man I haven't been in 7 years. You should have stopped apologizing a long time ago, dude, and put her in her fucking place. I realize now she doesn't want me to be redeemed because she likes having this leverage over me. How do I leave a wife who insists on keeping me on permanent probation? How do I take the wheel back? Hoping to hear from you, Adam. And now the cousin jumps in. He says, SSM, I feel bad for Adam. And I've offered some advice. In situations like this, I always ask myself, what would SSM do? SSM wouldn't be in this situation, but regardless, how would SSM handle this? Adam, however, is hesitant and wants to hear from you and the community. I hope you find this letter and hope it makes to your channel. Looking forward to hearing from you in the community. Best regards, Mac. Oh, you're going to hear from me in the community, that's for sure. Okay, back to codename Adam. Adam, you did a fantastic job of turning shit around. You messed up big time when you were younger. You openly admitted you messed up. You the old pride cometh before the fall thing. You were arrogant, and you did made a lot of mistakes. It happened. And there was a lot of problems. But you know what? I think you did everything you could do to turn things around. You busted your tail for 3 years. You looked her straight in the eye and told her you're going to fix it. And you're sorry. And that's a time when it's warranted to say you're sorry to your wife because you fucked things up. And it impacted her and your child having to lose everything. Yeah. And go to live in a rougher neighborhood because, understandably, she can be bothered by that with your young child. Fair enough. And my God, 3 years, if you're not exaggerating, busting your tail to pay the debts off, bring back the money, get a nice house, take care of it, buy her the car, provide a good life for your family. And yet still, all these years later, she is treating you like complete garbage, rubbing it in your face, disrespecting you in front of the kid, disrespecting in front of her family. This is, to me, unsalvageable. To me, my answer to this is cut your losses. You're a finance guy. You understand about cutting your losses and moving the fuck on. And I'm guessing the reason you've stayed all this long and put up with this shit is because of your children. And perhaps maybe because your culture that, it's frowned upon to get divorced. But look, dude, I can get her being upset for a little while. And I would imagine that any good woman, any good wife, in spite of what happened, when you were showing about how you're working so hard to turn it around, would then see that you're making an effort and would begin to let her anger go, look at the big picture. No, you got the opposite. She has just become more venomous since that happened, and that is no environment for you to live. That's no environment for your kids to be raised. Your kids are seeing her treat you like shit. And those kids, number one, are not going to have respect for you, and you're not going to be able to lead them and be a good father. You said you have a boy. I don't know if you have 2 boys or a boy and a girl, whatever, but regardless, they need to respect their father. She's destroying that. Okay? Also, the fact is those kids are going to see that mom and dad don't love each other. So, your children could end up in relationships just like this one day because they think that's normal. Seriously. Children do not like it when mom and dad fight and carry on and all that, They want solid parents, loving parents. And then her disrespecting in front of her whole giant family there is bad enough for a wife or girlfriend to disrespect their guy because she's pissed at them. But to do it publicly in front of a lot of people, that is unacceptable. And what I'm guessing here probably is that over the years, because you felt bad and you don't want to lose your family and your kids and mess it up, you've obviously have not checked her. You've not laid down the law and given it back to her or made her realize that you're cut this shit or I'm walking. Because a lot of guys wouldn't do that. And that has been, if that's the case, and I'm guessing that probably is, that was a mistake. You certainly made up for what you did, okay? And you did absolutely what any man should do. So, but at this point, after 7 years of this shit, I just don't see it as salvageable. Why would you want to? And that's why I asked the question is, in the beginning, prior to this everything, did you have a good relationship? Was she loving? Was she genuinely loving, enjoyed being around you and all that? I mean, was your marriage arranged or was you actually met and courted and all that? That's another important feature there, So I just don't see how, I sure as hell wouldn't stick around for this shit. Most of the guys watching this wouldn't stick around for this shit. So you have to decide for yourself what you want to live with the rest of your life, but I just don't see any changing her. And why would you want to at this point after everything has gone through, End of fucking story. So quite frankly, I would be talking to a lawyer and finding out your options. And the odds are, I'm getting the impression that probably she's a stay-at-home wife, stay-at-home mom, and you pay for everything. So obviously in the divorce, you're going to be paying up. Child support, she's no doubt going to get the house, the alimony, all that type of stuff. But there's a point, like, you cut your losses. Because if you're a super smart guy like you are and hardworking, you can take the hit in the divorce and she's going to make out well, but you can keep rising up. So your initial hit, yeah, but then eventually you'll be doing better for yourself. But I just don't see how this shit's turning around. I don't think, unless you could like hypnotize her ass or use the Jedi mind trick on her, I don't see anything turning around her personality and becoming what your cousin described, how he turned his marriage around and how now his wife is feminine and loving, all that. I just don't see it happening. And frankly, I wouldn't want to. However, if you still want to stay married to her, at the very least, man, then you better fucking check her ass and say this is unacceptable and make it known that you're going to walk, but you have to mean it, okay? And here's the thing. If you're 35, I'm guessing she's in her 30s as well. Let's just say you get divorced. It ain't going to be so easy for her because she's going to be in her 30s and a single mom of 2 kids who squeezed out 2 puppies. And obviously, physically is not going to look as good as she once did. I'm going to assume that she was a decent-looking woman when she was younger and y'all met. It ain't going to be so easy for her. And guess what? If I'm not mistaken, in your culture, from what I've heard, once women get to be about 25 years old, and it's like, that's it. And if they're divorced, and I would imagine she knows this. But again, it's maybe different if you're here in the US of A. So, man, I would be done. I'd be out of there absolutely. And as much as you're going to take a hit, and who knows, if you end up divorcing her, either one, the claws are really going to come out even more, or 2, she's going to realize what it's going to be like to be a single mom of 2 kids in her 30s and not nearly as desirable as she once was, and may come all of a sudden have a major attitude shift real quick, which will give you the power. But I'd like to see another universe, another parallel reality where after you messed up and you did things to turn around, you were checking her. You were not tolerating her crap, and standing up for yourself, how things would have turned out. But we don't know. So, man, that's what I think. But I got to tell you, and I want to make it clear as day, you did the right thing afterwards. You messed up, but you turned shit around. You did everything you had to do. That is what a leader does. That is what a man does. But it didn't matter to her because she's so full of venom and hatred. Nope. Unacceptable. But at the end of the day, it's your life. You got to do what you got to do. And you can see it's getting really dark here. Looks like a storm's going to roll. And this is always happening when I film at this time of day. So, bro, good luck to you. Let me know what happens down the road, what you decide and how things go. But you cannot go down this path any longer. Either you divorce her or you have a serious sit down with her and lay down the law that you're going to leave otherwise. But whatever you say, you got to mean it because she has such low respect for you. Like, none at all. She's going to think you're bluffing. So you just be prepared. If you're going to say you're going to walk, you got to walk. And be prepared if you do go to divorce, be prepared for war. That's all I'm going to say. Whatever money you have, or you can get people to help you out, you need to have a war chest. You need to find the right lawyer and be prepared to absolutely go to war if she tries to mess with your kids and all that. So, brother, I wish you the best. You did a great job turning it around. Now let's move forward. You're 35 years old. You got your whole life ahead of you. It's not worth this. And also, you can't do this to your kids seeing this. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. Really, he needs some help here. He's brand new. He's made mistakes, but we're going to help him. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.